हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। अभ्रमं भंगरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतलं भजेतापत्रयापहं मिथ्या सिद्धान्तदुद्ध्वान्त विध्वंसनचक्षणः जयतीर्थाकथनिर्भक्तां नवहृदम्बरे पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय सिद्धर्मणताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवे वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्री राघवेन्द्रगुरुवे नमो दयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाख्यं स्मरेत् तेन विज्ञाः प्रश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति मनोरथाः। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. We are doing Bhagavad Gita and second adhyaya. In that especially we are seeing the sloka number 69, which is almost like a riddle, and a lot of commentators and other people, when they looked at a sloka, they could easily guess. Sometimes what happens is the riddles are of two kinds. Sometimes they appear to be very simple, but it may have a riddle. We don't even know that it's a riddle. Other type of riddles are like, for example, this one, the moment they see that, oh, it is a figurative expression, it's a riddle. So people are aware that it's a riddle, but still they can make some mistake in deciphering the riddle. So this riddle is the sloka is 69 in the second chapter. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. We saw the meaning of that one. I just want to ask, basically recap a little bit, just to give you what it is. Whatever all the normal beings treat like night, or dark above, or ignore, or sleep over, and do not strive for it. The wise, meaning spiritually enlightened jnanis, they treat that like day, or they show keenness, or be wakeful to it, wakeful about that one. They strive for it. What is that? Bhagwat swaroop Gyana. They want others, they're not interested in Bhagwat swaroop Gyana, they're interested in materialistic. Whereas the jnanis are interested in Bhagwat swaroop Gyana, but not interested in materialistic. So whatever all the normal beings are like wakeful, meaning they are worried about, or care for, or are concerned with, the wise, meaning spiritually enlightened people, are jnanis. That jnani is not worried about, or does not care for, or is not concerned with what is that one? Materialistic things. So in case of Bhagavad Swarupa Jnana is one way, in materialistic is another way. If we briefly say this simple sentence without any of the embellishments, if we say that, what normal ones do not want, wise want. What normal ones want, wise do not want. Simply, if we put in a simple terms, I will just present this in a slightly different way. And, is there a difference between that and this next set I'm saying? What wise do not want, carefully listen. What wise do not want, normal ones want. What wise want, normal ones do not want. So basically reversing the normal and wise, but looks like conveying the same idea. Is there a difference between these two sets of statements? So the first set is, once again, I'm repeating, the first set of two statements is what normal ones do not want, wise want. What normal ones want, wise do not want. So normal ones and wise, we are proceeding like that. And the second set is reverse of that. What wise do not want, normal ones want. What wise want, normal ones do not want. Anybody wants to volunteer? Like, is there difference between these two sets of statements? I think I repeated, so I think it's clear about that. So the first set and the second set, they seem to say the same thing, but is there a difference? I mean, it's okay. It's not like an exam or anything like that. Just, I want to know, he got the hang of it.
Gurugala Namaskara.
Yeah, sure.
So, based on my understanding, in terms of want, the non-wise, they desire for worldly and those kind of stuff. And at the same time, they purposefully neglect what the wise want, which means there is two um, kind of prachodane that is there. One is want, and as well as another one is not wanting the good things.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. Namaskar.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, suppose if we say the normal ones what did not want, wise want. So that means first one is taken as a how others approach and how the wise approach as against what the normal ones are doing. In the second set, what the normal ones do against the wise. So the first set is actually telling us that we should emulate the wise. The second set is driven by the normal one. So it is no message. Like in the second one, though it appears to be almost same, but the message is to emulate the wise. We want to follow what the wise do. What the normal ones do, we don't want to follow them. That's not what is to be emulated. So in the second set, it looks as if we want to emulate or follow what the norm, because what wise do not want, normal ones want. So do you want to be the normal one? No. What wise want, normal ones do not want. Do you want to be like a normal one? No. So the second one, the second set that I gave, that one seems to direct that we are trying to emulate the normal ones. The first set is trying to say that we want to emulate the wise one. So the syntactically and semantically, they appear to be almost the same. Like A equals B or B equals A, both are same. So they appear to be same. The message part is where the variation is. We want to emulate the wise. That's why Yanisha Sarvabhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Samyam. It did not say Ya Samyami. So does not start with Samyami and then how the other Sarvabhutas, all the other ones are doing. So we want to follow the Samyami. That means whatever is the latter is what is to be followed. How the latter is reacting to the former. Latter should be Samyami, the former should be ordinary beings. Then we are emulating the Samyami or Jnanis. So both are equal is a different issue. But what one wants to do, we have to do whatever the Jnani is doing. So that way, though equating the both comes in both the pictures, but the difference is whom we want to emulate. We want to emulate the knowledgeable ones. That is what it is being presented. So that is one kind of a thought flow. Acharya gives another kind of a thought flow, very interesting thought flow. So the first part is, I mean, the first interpretation is clear, where how the jnanis have to behave, they want to behave differently. Why means because priority. The priority for ordinary ones, the material things are of great priority. Parmatma, swaroop Gyana is of much lower priority. So, and it's not just the priority. What happens is they take over. All the normal materialistic things take over, and the Paramatma is completely ignored. That's where the problem comes. So the Jnani realizes that, they say, if I go run after them a little bit, I will run after them a lot. So let me not be completely obsessed with those, but let me have my own priorities. Paramatma Swarupa Jnana is of highest priority for me. That is how he goes by. That is one interpretation. Then there's a second kind of interpretation where we can see three layers. We saw two layers there in the first interpretation. In the second interpretation, there are three layers. Human beings who are Aparoksha Gyanis, who are deeply interested in Bhagavantana Swarupa Jnana, and rest of the normal beings, and Devatas, especially Tattvabhimani, Uttama Devatas, Tattvabhimani Devatas, who are all there. And in these three layers, the middle layer, that is the Aparoksha Gyanis, who are human beings, but who do not have the extraordinary capacity of the Devatas. In those people, these Aparoksha Gyanis, when they see Brahman, Parmatma, whatever, when the Parmatma Darshana happens, when they see the Parmatma inside, they enter kind of a Samprajna Samadhi, they become so much absorbed in Paramatma. So when they become so absorbed, they do not perceive all the other things. They see Paramatma. They see, oh, I want to see Paramatma. Paramatma is giving darshana to me inside. So they don't see anything else. They completely block everything else. Everything else is blocked when they see Paramatma. And in that situation, the comparison is just as the ordinary beings do not see Paramatma, these Aparoksha Jnanis do not see other things. See that the not seeing is the ordinary beings do not see Paramatma at all. They are interested in materialistic things, they don't see Paramatma. These Aparoksha Jnanis see Paramatma and they don't see other things. So it is just, they see one and not the other. Like ordinary beings don't see Paramatma, but they see all the other things. These Aparoksha Jnanis see Paramatma, but they don't see anything else. What about Devatas? Devatas, actually another example that you can take in your materialistic world. Suppose you see a beautiful, something very astonishing thing happens, like some spacecraft is taking off. You are concentrated on spacecraft. You don't see somebody standing next to you. You don't. So you are absorbed. An astounding or surprising, a wonderful thing is happening in front of your eyes. You get absorbed in that. You don't see anything else because that's so astonishing, so wonderful, so great. Just like that, the Aparoksha Jnanis, for them, Paramatma is such a wonderful thing that they don't see anything else. But what about Devatas? Devatas, even when they are seeing Paramatma, because of their pratibha, because of their extraordinary yogyata, their special powers, they can see other things also. And they see Paramatma in other things also, of course. But they can see Paramatma, they can see other things also. Oh, I'm seeing Paramatma, so I don't see anything else. That kind of a situation does not happen for Devatas. Why? For example, suppose some Daityas come and they go to Paramatma. They see Narayana in front of them. They do pray to Narayana. Oh, we have all these troubles. Please come and help us. When they're asking, they're seeing Narayana, they're seeing Paramatma. They should not say, oh, all the Daityas and nothing should be visible for them, not aware of them. No, they're still aware of them. They go and pray. If suppose they become completely absorbed in Paramatma, they don't see anything else. They go to pray Narayana and they actually physically see Narayana and they forget everything, then they can't even make a prayer. Oh, please do help us or whatever. Because of their extraordinary capacity, extraordinary power, they can see Paramatma and also see other things. Whereas Aparoksha Jnanis, they see Paramatma, but they don't see other things. Whereas ordinary beings, they don't see Paramatma, but they see other things. So three layer also it can see. So for Nisha for one is a day of another one. That Nisha of another one is a day of another one. So like this, you can see three different layers also. You can see in this sloka. That's an interesting observation that Acharya gives both the perspectives. But then another question pops up in our mind. What does it mean? Does it mean we want only Paramatma and we should not have any materialistic experience? Because that is against us. Because we cannot even conduct our lives if we don't wish for anything. Oh, I want only Paramatma. I don't want anything. Then we can't do the job. We can't go there. We can't earn money. We can't run our families. We cannot do anything at all. The life journey itself becomes stop. That is not. Is that what is being taught? Means no. Bhagavad Gita is so practical. It never says, okay, just stop everything. Don't do anything. Just go and go after Paramatma. Don't do anything else. That is not what Bhagavad Gita teaches. It says how you should balance. So, we even a practical question in our life also, how do we balance? What do we do? How do we handle? So don't we do other things along with, whatever Paramatma's things are there? Yes, we do. So how we should do it? That is explained in the next sloka, that 70th sloka. Beautiful analogy is given, example is given that goes like this. Apuryamanam achalapratishtam samudramapah pravishanti yadvat Tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami. Kama, desires, is not bad at all. Because we have to conduct our life journey. But it should not become a kama kami. What is kama kami means? Desiring ka pratyaya. There's a ka means kutsita or mean or horrible thing. So anything that is wrong enjoyments, wrong things, wrong joys, wrong things, that should not be run after. Whatever is required, we can perceive them. And while doing that also, how we should enjoy and run our materialistic life, how we should do it. It gives an example like an ocean. You all know that all the rivers, they run into the ocean. Like, eventually most of the rivers, they run into the ocean. And the ocean is receiving so much of water from the rivers. When the water comes into the ocean does not overflow. Like, of course, people may say, hey, tsunami happens. Tsunami is not happening because of the overflow of the rivers. River is coming into the ocean, so it's tsunami happens. No, because of some other reason, tsunami happens. But normally, just because a river comes and joins the ocean does not become elated, like overflow. So it says, apuryamanam achala pratishtham. The words that are used is, you cannot fill it to an extent that it can't take any more. Or ocean doesn't say, oh, I have enough water. No more river. I can't take any more river. It doesn't say that also. It doesn't get overflown. It doesn't say, oh, I can't take any more. Stop it. Nothing like that. And also, suppose no river is coming. Oh, I'm so deprived of rivers. Oh, no river is coming. That doesn't happen to the ocean. If no river comes, it's fine. If all the rivers come, fine. If a lot more rivers come, it's fine. Anything is fine. That is how the Jnani has to be like a ocean. The rivers are like the kamanas. They come, sure, you enjoy them. But the ups and downs are not happening for the ocean. Same way, the mental ups and downs should not happen to us. And the ocean does not do any desperate attempt, like, at any cost, I should get the river. Do legal or illegal, whatever, get me. I have to get the river, so let me get. That kind of a thing does not happen with the ocean. River comes on its own, let it come. Like that, a jnani, enjoyments come, okay, let them come. And I won't do illegal things or bad things to get my joys. So this is what wrong efforts, wrong way of getting the joys, that Jnani will not do it. So the Jnani behaves like an ocean with no ups and downs and no wrong way of doing the effort. All this happens. So this is one interpretation of that. So apuryamanam means like, it cannot be filled, okay, filled to an extent that it cannot take anymore. That can not happen. It cannot be filled up to the brim. That's it. I can't take anymore. That kind of thing does not happen in the ocean. And achala chala, the chalatva is not happening. That means there's no ups and downs. And this one, pratishtha, is so firm. When samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat, just like the apaha means water, means here rivers and all that. Pravishanti, they come and join the ocean. When that happens, tadvat, in the same way, kama yam pravishanti. Kamas, desires, yam pravishanti, the proper desires, survey. So all that is, let him come any amount of desires, that is fine. He is so calm, like ocean. Sa shantim apnoti. He is having the tranquil joy in this world, and also eventually he will go to moksha, because he will know the limitations of this, and the giver of these joys, he is aware of all that. He strives for Parmatma without getting perturbed or overjoyed or over depressed. When the sorrows comes, it doesn't go down like, oh, I can't handle this, let me commit suicide or something. A lot of people, we hear people trying to commit suicide because they are not realizing the priorities. Hey, nothing is more than the life. Life is important. And in that life, what is important, we have to judge. So this awareness goes away, people do mistakes. So always people should have balance of mind, proper understanding of ups and downs, and do not get overworked, overexcited when the joys come, or over depressed when the sorrow comes. They are able to handle. See, that is the problem. People can handle joy but not sorrow. Some people can handle sorrow but not joy. Some people can't. Most of the people, we can't handle both of them. When joy comes, we get overblown, and when sorrow comes, we get over depressed. All these things happen. That should not happen. So, sa shantim apnoti, only he obtains that shanti sthiti, which is both in this life and in life after. Whereas, na kamakami, that is one who is running after evil desires, evil way of life, he cannot have that shanti. He cannot have not only peace of mind, shanti, as we talked, then moksha is called shanti. He will reach the moksha sthiti. And that moksha virodhi kamas are the bad kamas. So moksha virodhi kama should not be there. And it does not mean sarva ichha virodhi. This is not against all desires. Don't have any desires. It's not what it is. Bad desires, moksha virodhi desires, don't have it. That's what is being told. And another way of looking at it is, very interesting thing is, in the same analogy, the samudra or the ocean, when the rivers come, it does not cross its own boundaries. Just because the river coming, crossing the boundary does not happen. It's still like same boundary it maintains. That is what's called obeying the boundaries. Maryada, we call Maryada. Maryada means boundaries. Maryada in day-to-day life, we are called Maryada means what extent we can go, how much we can go, the limits, the boundaries. We have to know the boundaries. So, yaha kaman maryadam na taret kvachit. We should not cross the boundaries. We should not do anything that is forbidden. Breaking the boundaries or going moksha virodhi things, that is should not be done. So sarvecha virodhi is not what is talking about. That means all kinds of desires is not opposed. Only moksha virodhi desires are opposed. So why means nata sarvecha bhave jivanam bhavati. So if we have no desires at all, even the life cannot go on. So it is not the stop of life, is not like a stopping thing for the life, but it is continuous realization that we should maintain the balance. We should know where our limits are. We should react to both the joys and sorrows in the way that we should react. This is what is being told here. So I'll stop here. I think it was a long session, but any questions are there, you can feel free to ask. Hare Srinivasa.
I have one question about the karma.
Sure.
So sometimes we are so driven by getting what we want, and that we want it so badly that it becomes a necessity for us almost. And in that state of mind, it feels like anything that we want. How do we know that we're not crossing the line? That we're not like overstepping the boundary, as you were saying. If How do we know that our uh, what we want is within the boundary? Because sometimes we get so distracted and so alluded to what the worldly desires that we are surrounded by. So how do we know what is right when we are getting those types of?
Very good question, because yes, practical question, very practical, because in our day-to-day life, a lot of times we face that situation. Hey, I want this desperately, but whatever I am doing, is it right or not? This dilemma comes, yes, very natural. One litmus test for that is, if whatever, for achieving that, whatever effort we make, does it hurt anybody? First thing. Does it hurt me? Also, second thing, you have to think of two things. It should not hurt anyone else. It should not hurt the society. And sometimes what happens is it hurts a person himself, because a person sees a very short vision. Eventually, it may lead to some other big disaster. So a person should think a little bit, okay, I do for getting that, as you said, it becomes almost feels like a necessity. But for achieving that, whatever I am doing, like, just give a crude example, like, so somebody is very poor and hungry is there, very hungry, so desperate, can't stand the hunger, and not able to get food anywhere. So he resorts to stealing something or doing something wrong, and he can justify, hey, if I don't do that, I'm going to die, so I'm going to steal this food from this shop, because otherwise I'm going to die. It's a necessity for me. This kind of is then easy justified, because he's very hungry. He sees the food in a shop. He somehow feels so compelled to go and steal it. Okay, without the knowledge of the shop guy, I'll go and steal it. But the person should realize that by doing so, he is doing something very wrong. It is against the social laws. It is against everything. And if he gets caught, he will get punished. He will become harm to himself also. He can be put behind the bars. So it can hurt him, or it can hurt someone else. Or while stealing, somebody comes and sees him, and he can hear. And this guy may hit him, because, like, that guy is opposing something. So he may hurt a person, or he may hurt the society, or he may hurt himself. So then it says, oh, no, no matter what, I won't do that. He stops. Of course, a simple, very trivial example, but in case of a complex examples also, the person has to analyze it and think about it. Whatever I am doing, does it hurt me in the long run? Does it hurt someone else, or does it hurt the society or the good people? Does it cause any harm to that? Even as important as the food, which is essential to live, even in that case, a person should think, means, imagine if it's not at all food, is not a desperate thing, is not a compulsory thing, person may want a particular type of item. He sees, oh, it's a $100,000 item, and it's so an expensive item, beautiful item, but this person is a very ordinary being. It is not that he loves it so much. It's not like food, but he feels that, oh, I cannot live without that expensive item. I want to get it somewhere, so let me do something about it. Let me go and rob or steal or whatever it is. There, it is not even like a food, but so in that case, it becomes more obvious. It very easily he can handle. So even in examples like food, control has to be there. Means in examples like a not food, not desperate, not thing, but the person feels the necessity or desperation because of his over obsession, then also it's wrong. So in every situation, whether it's a necessity of life or non-necessity of life, in all these cases, what you have to judge, how to know whether we're crossing the limits, whether it's right or wrong, is test it, whether it is hurting anybody else, hurting the society, is it against the law, is it against the scriptural injunctions, it is against, is it hurting me? All this, if we see, it opens up some light. It tells us what is right. And even in that case, if suppose there are some situations where they're very complex situations, still there may be a dilemma. Hey, maybe it's not wrong, maybe it's okay, or that kind of feeling comes. Such situation where the person is not able to judge, he can take the help from a more experienced person, more elderly person, someone else who can guide them and who can tell them, hey, this is the way you have to do. You can still achieve that through some other means. They may give an alternate methods, or they may tell a way of doing it, or they may say, okay, no, 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 this is not at all good for you. No, don't do it. Whatever guideline. So if your person is not able to judge himself, he has to seek help from someone else, and the way they can get it together, that person and his guide or his help or his whatever it elderly person, together they can see whether it hurts anyone else, whether it is legal, whether it is as per the spiritual injunctions and the material injunctions, because there are laws of human laws and the godly laws, both are there. whether they are according to them or not. This you can judge.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
but I'll extend the same question. But see, there are some instances where, say, for example, let's take an example of India, where, or maybe even if you take example of US. See, there are some examples where you have to put your opponent on a different place, because, for example, even if, like, say, Donald Trump, right? He has to do whatever he's doing, otherwise he will not be able to survive, right? Otherwise, this in this world, like, there are some places where you have to kill people so that you can save another 1,000 people, or you have to kill, and it's not necessary physically, but even mentally, right? But although you will end up in that kind of situations, especially when you go on the, or when you become bigger, take a bigger and higher roles, you have to do it. It is like you don't have options. So how do you judge at that point in time? Because they go with every litmus, against every litmus test which you said, right? It is going to hurt someone. It may be hurting you also. It may not be it may not be hurting law, of course, because it is not against law, but it is like a necessity. How do you judge that?
Yeah. Like in case of a war or something, is that what is in the
Not
example?
just war, like, even like, for example, even the normal politics which happen in the country, or in any, because you it is like, if there are two people, there is politics, right? And then there will be some, because, for example, I'll give you an example. They had to construct a dam, right? Now they were searching for some places. Some people did some tricks so that the dam can come to the place where they want. Okay. But it is against the people where it doesn't, where it did not go. Instead of constructing in place A, they constructed in place B. It helped the people in place B, but it did not help people in place A, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it has to be done, because, like, you if you it goes with all the, because it is hurting some people, it is definitely
Yeah.
hurting someone.
Yes.
So after, how do you handle, because it is not, life is not so easy in black and white, Allah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why we never say ahimsa paramo dharma. So yes, sure. In what you are saying is, it can happen, hurt some people, but whether that hurting is necessary or not, whether there are alternatives, not like, for example, a dam example only if you take, yes, what they have to do is whatever people are getting affected by the dam, the alternate means of existence has to be given for them. Still, they may not like it, but it may help in the long run many people. So basically, what I'm suggesting is smaller ahimsa or violence to help a bigger ahimsa is really ahimsa. That means what we just as in economics, where risk and gain ratio, we see that same way in life also, whether it is you have to judge, like the loss and the hurt of some people, whether it's worth to gain something else. That means a bigger benefit, more people are benefited from that. If that happens, then it is worth it. So basically, even there also, we have to balance and check, see if the people who are hurt, are there ways to avoid their hurting, or at least lessen their burden. We may not completely avoid, and prevent. In some cases, like in case of war and all, people may die also, but in case of a dam and all that, at least the things like death can be avoided, because wherever the dam thing comes and a lot of villages can get wiped off, and people will plan accordingly and vacate those villages and put alternative ways for them and tell them, okay, the water is going to flood all this area, so you have to vacate this place, and we'll give you this much time, and we'll provide this alternate existence. It may not be the best, but still it is something that can, at least you can survive on. So you can completely avoid death or hurting or something. In some cases, it may just happen inadvertently. In that case, what is to be done is we have to see what is law, what is right, because actually there are a lot of nice examples we come across in day-to-day life, but that complicates it. But every situation has to be judged with the proper analysis. In the sense, yes, it's not completely stopping the hurt is not possible, but whether a small amount of hurting will help and save many, many lives, then probably is a harsh decision, but people may have to go with that. So it is, as you said, very tough situation, and practically we have to think each and every case separately. There is no like a common rule or common law for everything. Everything has to be judged on its own merit, and complete non-hurting may not be possible, in which case hurting a smaller number to prevent the hurting of a big number is considered also as a ahimsa or non-violence. So that is how we have to take it.
Because I think that is where the role of guru comes into picture. Andre,
Yeah,
there are a lot of places where we don't know what is right and what is wrong.
yeah,
Meaning, I think I would say 90% of the cases we are doing blindly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we don't have any proper backup to say on the rational reasoning. We don't have the rational reasoning to think why it is right and why it is wrong.
But Srinivasji, one point, like the first question from where you started, when it comes to mind that what is right and what is wrong, if that question for any during any activity, if that question comes to a mind to of a person, then mind will certainly give the right answer also. If that question, with most of the people, while doing the day-to-day activities or whether politics or whatever, that question doesn't even comes to mind. If that question comes, then it means automatically right answer will also come. That what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, you're talking about
Like,
manasakshi, right? The conscience. So conscience is working. So the person is at least thinking, hey, I want to do it the right way. I don't want to do anything wrong. If that desire is there, then certainly Parmatma will help and guide that person, and some solution will come. The best
Andre,
possible solution.
I think you're see some places you know what is right, but you don't know why it is right.
Yeah.
Andre, we don't have that proper scriptural backing. Most of the
Yes.
cases we don't know why we cannot prove it is right. Mostly,
No, it's not approving, but see, there is
ನಮ್ಮ
what is,
ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ
yeah,
not for
manas,
others.
we have to prove to your own mind at least, your own
Yeah,
conscience. Yeah.
not for others, but ಇದು ಈ ತರ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ based upon this discussion ಈ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ I am making this decision. That level of analysis we may not be able. We
No,
don't
no,
have
no.
that kind of.
Bhagavad Gita gives the guidelines. Then each
Mm-hmm.
situation, Bhagavad Gita does not tell in this situation do like this. It tells
Correct.
the guidelines. So you follow the guidelines, and definitely it will open up the doors.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So,
I think
Namaste,
it's again
Guruji.
practice.
I had one question.
Yeah.
So, if it is for ourselves, then we can ask the question, we can go to the Guru and convince. But if we want somebody else who doesn't even have that realization, how do we convince them? Like, for example, a small kid. If I ask that kid to control himself, like on Ekadashi, don't eat chocolate, then he might not eat in front of me, but he will go hide somewhere and then he'll eat it. So how do I convince that kind of a kid mentality, or that kind of a person who doesn't want to follow the rules?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very practical thing. See, the guideline is the kid is still in the kid state. So you try to touch upon the kid, tell the kid, like, okay, you want to eat chocolate, you do one thing. Ekadasi day, you want to eat one chocolate, you keep it aside and eat on Dwasi day. Eat two chocolates. Just I'm saying a kind of rude example. So you have to give something else in alternative to suggest. So basically, it's like this. Suppose you have cow is there. Cow you want to take in a particular direction. You have the grass. Cow comes and so you show the grass in another direction. You want to take the cow in another direction, show the grass, and it will go in the other direction. So basically, for such people, there are ways to handle it in a way where, don't eat at all. If you say the kid, as you said, you can go and hide and eat. Instead, you say, okay, look, if you don't eat, I'll give you an extra chocolate tomorrow, or something like that. Just a kind of a rough example. And suppose the kid may still not like it. That is fine. The kid will grow up into that eventually. So the kid will, the realization, see, it's not a blind doing. What is the use? Kid, hey, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat. You just force. and the kid says it doesn't like and hates inside mind and everything. It's no good. Slowly start teaching the kid. Eventually, the kid will mature, and the kid will, by always, what happens is, man, he learns everything by mimicking. So he mimics the elders. So when the elders do it, the kids will get, most of the time, if not 100% of the time, most of the time they follow the elders, they copy them. So one way of teaching the kids is do ourselves everything the right way, the kids will copy and they will also start doing the right way. So for everything, there is a way of doing it, and how it depends upon the individuals, it depends upon the parent, it depends upon the kid, it depends upon many factors. But yes, when you are trying to do with someone else, you have to do something in accordance with the mentality of that person.
Okay.
So elders stand as an example, if not truly, but at least it's some kind of direction.
Yes.
Sastang Namaskar, Shri Kishore. I have a question. I just want to make sure that I understood this, the second shloka that we discussed today, Purneman Manam Achalam Pratishtam Samudram Apa Praveshanti Yaddat. The second line of the shloka, Yaddat Kamamyam Praveshanti Sarve Sashantim Apnuti Na Kam Kami. So here I was thinking this is talking about the Gyani being unperturbed by the Kama. The Kama is a mental state, right? It can drive effects like physical effects through, because of which the person may make some effort. Person may be able to, but the person may also be able to restrain that desire. So, but I thought you said that the Tadvat Kamam Yapravashanti Sarve. So here you said, I thought you said that it's all about like this person will only take the good desires and not the bad desires. So there won't be any bad desires in this person. Is that what you meant, or is it am I misunderstanding?
No, good desires comes. Even if the good desire comes, even good things come, the person may get highly elevated. Suppose the person wants a good desire comes, but he gets overexcited, over elated. That's not good. So basically, here the comparison is just that the ocean doesn't get overflown or highly elevated or depressed. Okay, no water is there, I become very depressed. So it won't become dry. The ocean won't become dry because the rivers are not coming. At the same time, the ocean will not overflow because more rivers are coming. It is unaffected when the rivers enter the ocean. Same way, for a person, when the kamanas enter, it's not actually what kind of a kamana. So and another thing is the ocean does not make any effort for the rivers to come into. Hey, let me do something so that the rivers can come. Let me put some display thing and the rivers are coming. No, the ocean does not do any efforts also for the rivers to come in. Same way, the person will not, whatever joys are coming, he will let it come. So two things. One is he does not get over elated or over depressed because of the joys are coming, getting elated does not happen. Sorrows are coming, getting depressed does not happen. He is unaffected by the acquisition of sorrows and joys. One thing. Second thing is he does not do let those, no, the desires are coming his way, and he does not do extra effort to get the whichever are coming his way, he takes it, but does not do extra effort, like just the ocean does not do extra effort to get the rivers. Same way, he does not do anything extra to get in the regular flow of life. Whatever comes, he takes. The regular flow of life, the desires happen, he takes it. He does not go out of the flow of life to get the kamanas. So it is actually behavior in getting the kamas, not what kind of kamas are coming. The kamas have to be, of course, in further interpretation, the kamas have to be not moksha virodhi kamas. That's one thing. But even if they're good desires, the person may overreact for the good desires That should not happen. So basically, how a person handles the desires is what is being talked about.
Okay, so this is also describing Aparoksha Gyani only. Is that
Yeah, this one actually not just Aparoksha Gyani. This one is describing everybody. But the Aparoksha Gyani would have reached that stage easily. But non-Aparoksha Jnanis, what they can do is they can make an effort towards it, in the sense non-Aparoksha Jnani will not behave the same way as an Aparoksha Jnani, but he can follow the path, in the sense a little bit of excitement will come. Joy comes, you get excited, sure, but don't get overexcited. Same way, a little bit of sadness does come for non-Aparoksha Jnani. Like for example, Dragan Swami, when poverty came, he was totally unperturbed. Ordinary man may not be able to reach that. Say poverty comes, he can feel a bit sadness also, but does not get over depressed. Basically, overreaction for both joys and sorrows should not happen. That is what the guideline is, basically.
okay? So when we say talk about karma, so
Yeah.
karma could be both good and bad desire.
Yes.
And
Then that is what. So this one is only comparison is to be limited to the extent of not reacting. But
okay,
this does not, like in case of ocean, there is no such thing as, okay, these are the good rivers, these are the bad rivers. It does not differentiate. So the comparison is to be limited how we react even to the good desires.
okay,
That's all it is. So this one is not a comparison to stop the bad desires and to take the only good desires. That comparison is not mentioned in this sloka. That's mentioned elsewhere. But this sloka is limited only to the extent of reacting to the desires. It is not meant to separate the which are the good desires, which are the bad desires. Let me get only good desires, not the bad desires. This kind of a thing is not. That means basically, uh, extended argument is, okay, moksha virodhi desire should not be there, because if no desires all should be there, means it becomes a problem. This is actually continuation from the previous sloka. Previous sloka may give the impression, oh, all the desires are bad, don't go any desires. That feeling may come. No, that's not what is meant. Desires do come, but handle them properly. So this sloka is only meant to handle the good desires properly. This sloka is not meant to separate how the bad desires don't get the bad desires, get only the good desires. That comes elsewhere. But this sloka is not dealing with that.
okay. So two more
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
So here the kami is a person who is overwhelmed by the desires and driven by desire to act. Is that correct?
Yeah, that Kamakami is the one which is giving a hint as good desires and bad desires. So
Hmm.
Kamakami is actually one who welcomes the bad desires. So
Okay.
why he welcomes the bad desires? Because he gets overexcited with the desires. He gets over depressed if he doesn't get it. A Kamakami Lakshana is that he won't behave like an ocean. He wants good desires and bad desires, everything desires, all desires he wants, not only just good desires. So kamakami, that word is a pointer to say that you should not have moksha virodhi desires, you should have only good desires. That is indicated by kamakami. So the kamakami is giving a hint of it, though not clearly given there. But kamakami is bad, means bad desires should not be craved for. Only good desires is to be craved for. That is indicated by the Kamakami, though not explicitly. But the one who is a Kamakami, one who welcomes the bad desires, will always be in such a way that he overreacts for all desires, not for good or bad, everything. For him, even good desires, he overreacts. Anything that depression or sad thing comes, he gets over depressed. So he doesn't want any bad to happen. He will not see right and wrong. He will lose us the right and wrong concept. That is kamakami lakshana.
Okay. So last question.
Sure.
So because the it's the extension of the first question, that previous question that I was asking about the bad desires. So
Yeah.
for if we take this sloka for Aparoksha Gyani, because it says somewhere it says, right, raso varjam raso pasya param drishta navartate. So,
Yeah.
so for Aparoksha Gyani there is no bad desire.
Yeah, for Aparoksha Gyani, what happens is, even for an Aparoksha Gyani, bad desire can come because, as I mentioned, for Aparoksha Gyani is also what is Jnana Tirodhana can happen. Most of the time, you can say, for Aparoksha Jnanis, most of the times the bad desires are not there. But as I mentioned, like Prarabdha, because of there, occasionally Aparoksha Gyani can get bad desires also. Because we hear that in the stories also, right? So many times devatas, they do certain things, and that is because they are only the rujus are ones who ruju devatas who don't do anything wrong at all. Bad desires are never there. But for others, even they are aparoksha jnanis, the bad desires can come, and that thing very rarely happens. Very rarely happens. When that happens, they realize it. The realization is there for Aparoksha Jnanis. When such bad things happen, they realize it and they later repent for that and they do some prashita for that or whatever. So that is what happens for Aparoksha Jnanis.
Dhanyavad. Many sastang namaskar.
No problem.
Guruvela, just one more addition to this. Sometimes we see people, they are very good, they follow everything, rules, laws, everything, but when they are alone or when they are in not when in front of everyone, then they behave differently, right? So these bad desires, does that indicate the swarupa of a jiva, or how can we clarify that? Say, for example, going back to the same question, like I will hide and do some bad things so that nobody is watching, but in front of everybody I will be a very good person. So how can we judge others or even ourselves, that is this the swarupa that is bad inside us, or is something else driving us there?
It's
We
not only just Swarupa, it can be Jnana also, even in that Janma Jnana also. For example, actually, is a very interesting question. And there's a story in Vyasaraya, he gives a banana to everybody and asks them to eat without anybody seeing that. And Kanakadasa brings back banana and says, I can't do it because whenever I want to eat, I see all the Devatas, Tattvaman, the Parmatma, everybody is watching it. So the example that you gave, the person, oh, nobody is seeing, let me do something wrong, means the person is not having proper understanding that the Tattvabhimani Devatas are seeing, God is seeing, nobody is seeing, means human beings are not seeing, that's all.
okay, okay, so jnana is not there.
Yeah.
ತುಂಬಾ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Okay, sure. Okay, we'll continue next Monday. Hare Srinivasa.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರುಗಳೇ, ತುಂಬಾ
Hare
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ.
Srinivas.
ಹರೇ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಕೇಶವ ಅವರೇ. ಹರೇ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Hare Srinivasa.